Welcome to Aberdeen, Scotland, the third most populous city after Glasgow and Edinburgh. It's known for its offshore petroleum industry, but it's all well known for its curling. The Granite City has hosted several championships, including the World Juniors back in 2018 and the European Championships in 2009, but perhaps hosting its most important event to date as the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship 2021 will take place inside Curl, Aberdeen. Japan to play United States in Group B. We're on session 4 of this week. We'll meet the teams for Team Japan, coming off a pretty big loss yesterday, looking to bounce back. Yuta Matsumura will play alongside Yurika Yoshida. Their coach, J.D. Lind. They will take on USA. With a strong win on China yesterday, they'll bring that confidence into this game. Joe Polo will play alongside Tabitha Peterson, Lane Peters, their coach. We take a look at the standings. So we see Estonia, Norway, Switzerland, Sweden and USA all picking up a win yesterday. So for China, England, Finland, Japan and New Zealand, they'll have another chance to pick up their first win this afternoon. We'll see all the teams and how they play in this session. New Zealand take on England, China to play Switzerland, Estonia will take on Sweden, and we have Norway playing neighbours Finland. Of course, our main focus will be on that of Japan, USA, and we are playing mixed doubles. The rules as follow: 2 players, 1 male, 1 female. There is 1 pre-position stone per team per end, 5 stones to be played from each team. The game is scheduled for 8 ends and 22 minutes of thinking time awarded the teams at the start of the game. Of course, there's more rules to the game than that. A few of them include that the players play either stones 1 and 5 or the middle 3 stones. They are allowed to switch positions between ends. There's no takeouts until the 4th played stone of the end, which means for a lot of exciting curling, a lot of rocks in play. And of course, we have that power play option as well for the teams to use at some point during the game. And now we see Yuta Matsumura getting ready, just waiting out that clock. We see the draw shot challenge. It was Japan to lose out, so USA with the hammer. I'm Sander Olvag, joined by Alan Chalmers this afternoon. Excited for this game, Alan?
Certainly am. Off we go again. We're ready for some exciting curling. One team desperate to improve on their form from last night, and one team just looking to consolidate further. I think this one should be a cracker.
Yeah, very, very different results for the teams from yesterday. For Japan, I think it's all about binning that first game, have a good night's sleep, and come out firing. Yuta Matsumura will throw the first stone. The left-hander with his counter-clockwise draw. We'll put this anywhere between top 4 and frozen on the yellow, but comes up just a bit shy. Still usable there.
As Xander said in the rules summary there, both teams are allowed to play in different orders, with one player throwing the first stone and the 5th stone, and the other one throwing the middle stones, 2, 3, 4. Both teams here are going with the male throwing first and last, and the female player playing the middle ones, which it seems to be contrary to the rest of the field, Xander.
Yeah, Joe Polo here will throw his first stone in the game. Not kind of finished quite enough, so a couple of half shots to begin the first end here. I think, generally speaking, we'll see the male player play the middle rocks, but perhaps if they have a bit more firepower. And sometimes I think there's no getting away from the fact that male players sometimes are bigger and stronger in terms of sweeping. Yurika Yoshida will play the middle 3 stones for Japan. Of course, for Japan, with Matsumura, a natural skip playing in the men's curling, he'll be happy to take place at the head and control the tactics, the angles, and also look at the ice in terms of curl.
You're a little high, it's fine. Be nice to save a shooter, though.
Tabitha Peterson also playing the middle 3 stones, but for USA. This duo did play at the World Mixed Doubles once before, back in 2016, when it was hosted in Karlstad, Sweden. Picked up a bronze medal. So do have some experience.
I think with Joe being mic'd up, I think we almost got a third commentator with us today. I think we'll know exactly what the USA team are thinking, what they're looking for.
You should always have the double on there. Right?
Japan will keep drawing. Of course, a few yellow stones accumulating early on. USA with hammer, so always needing to be a bit careful. Fairly big strokes of the brush from Yoshida. I wonder if some of that energy is wasted.
That was really well swept, regardless, Sandra. I didn't think that was anywhere near touching button when the other player came out to meet it. I wasn't certain that it was getting that far. It was well swept as a combination by both Japanese players.
Is it enough, though? That's the question. I think they're trying to bring it all the way frozen to the back yellow.
They would have wanted it frozen, but
Yeah, I think I agree.
they've left it in a position where USA can still get at it, probably touch it back, actually, with the amount of swing on the ice here this week.
Just curious if there's a double on there for Tabitha Peterson, and I do think that is the call. Come off the wide red. Not an easy shot by any means. Might overcurl and catch her on yellow and come off onto the red. Yeah, that's a nice option. Still some trouble for Japan.
Touching the center line and you let it go. I'm like, geez, and you're saying, yeah? Okay.
Just one of these ones, Xander, where you start playing from the center line out to the wings. You don't really know the ice. You've not used that line so much in the practice sessions. You maybe used it in the preliminary practices, but not the one they've just done. Everything tends to focus on finding your draw weight into the button. So trying to get the ice for a control strike weight. One sweeper just caught them out, but no real damage done because they got the best result out of a bad shot.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a fresh path, a bit of bite to the pebble, as we might say. Just haven't been broken down as much, and might grab a bit more. We are seeing a nice swing, though, both hands so far in the championship. That's a pretty good shot there by Yoshida. No double for USA.
What are you comfortable with? And that's not bad, but it's just tough to score more than 2. This is the best chance for a big end. But I'm okay freezing if you want to. The freeze is probably the safest. Probably getting forced unless I have something.
But even if I make this, it's still all behind T-line most likely. They're freezing down in there again.
Yeah,
so maybe
and I probably have a, but that's the only thing. But if you roll wrong, it's just a big pocket. So let's just freeze one in there.
Okay.
See, you were 13-6.
Yeah.
I think that was on a further out track.
Agreed.
Considered playing the slash. Just not sure if it's really worth it. So they are playing the safer shot with a bit more margin. They're saying freeze, but they can certainly afford to bump the red a little bit here.
Yeah, I think if you could just get onto the downside of the low side of the red that's touching the button. unlock the yellow behind it. That's a potential way for some room for Joe when he comes to play the final stone of the end. So I think
Real nice.
that looks very usable by the USA there. Japan come with the face of that one. I don't think they will score. I don't think they can move the yellow far enough, so they would lie a second shot, but there would still be a cross-house flat double.
Well,
To score the 2, so good positioning.
I think you're probably guaranteed a score now, at least, with that shot from Tabitha Peterson. I think Japan's just going to try and sandwich that Yellowstone in. Leave as little room as possible for the second point.
chip this inside.
You can see where the broom is placed, all the way out on the edge of the 12 foot.
Where to put the ice for that, I have no
Expecting a lot of curl. Yuta Matsumura.
Just waiting for the break point.
Could come off their own red here if it's running a bit wide. Get a little chisel. Doesn't quite curl enough for Matsumura.
So if USA can get that stone that they've just played on the nose, or maybe just slightly high of the nose,
Probably 2 though if you stay.
could every red go?
Yeah. I mean, I think this
Probably
draw's
not,
pretty
but
easy.
we could maybe definitely bring the back yellow into play.
Draw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
I think the easier shot's just to play a draw here.
You just threw a 72. Where were you on the ice?
Just inside edge of 12.
Certainly the default shot in mixed doubles. Just draw the button. You play it so many times. It's a fairly high percentage shot. Joe Polo, last stone, first end.
Go ahead.
Flying the 1, drawing for 2. Tabitha Peterson on the sweep.
If he can get it to Carl, he's got the last played red to use to bounce off closer to the button.
Wow.
He's just not got any curl on that one at all, really, given where he started from.
So just going to be the 1 for USA. No, nothing too crazy so far in the game, but pretty well played in from both teams. 1 point for USA. And that is a score after one end. 1-0 in favor of the Americans.
He took just inside the, just inside the edge, and I took 2/3 into the 12 foot.
もう一回やってみて、もう行かなくなっちゃって。
Yeah, it was great.
Do you want to be next back then? Yeah. Yeah.
There was a piece of something that fell. Did you get it? Oh, okay. Thank you.
It's okay.
Just confirm that there was no debris left in the ice. Sounds like something maybe either fell off the rafters or from somebody's pocket or something like that. But Japanese team were on it. So ready to go.
私バックライン届いてないから10で投げたら1いや倍にする
Joe Polo gets
Pretty close.
gets us going in the second end.
Yep, for line.
It's a great name, Joe Polo.
Yeah, that is
Action figure.
Line's tight. Line's
His-
really tight. Let it
his
stop
own
if
action
you can.
toy.
Go line. Probably should have had you go for line, keep it on nose.
Taking a look over next door, we see Estonia playing Sweden first end, last stone for Maria Thurman.
Looks like she's got a fairly open draw against 3 Swedish counters, so a little bit of a pressure situation in the first end, trying to find her draw weight. She's not had to throw a stone for 10-15 minutes or so since her first one. Both sweepers having to put a lot of work into this one, but it's just going to come up short, just short of the rings, so it doesn't even cut them down at all. And that's a 3 steal for Sweden in the first end.
Had a very good game yesterday, Estonia, but playing at least half the reigning world champions. Oscar Eriksson with a new teammate this week. Won in Stavanger 2 years ago with Anna Hasselborg.
They're in a good spot. I'd like to tap them.
Which turn?
In.
Okay.
Both teams early form seems to be finding the forefoot, getting the stones in the central zone, which is typical of mixed doubles curling. The first 2 or 3 stones well positioned shy of the tee, they can use them to tap up, drive up. Makes for such a fascinating game.
It's very nice from Tabitha Peterson. Locks it on the corner. All about getting the angles. Of course, that's angled the red stone away from the back stones. Yusei could always come down and make a play on that yellow. And the red one goes.
Japan just trying to counteract that very shot, I think, by trying to just put the angle back on so that the red then will go straighter.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cat and mouse game.
A little bit of running at the moment on this one. It's going to run past, I think. Called shot, but it's going to be yet another stone in the zone. Just made a little basket, but right behind the tee. One stone behind the tee, one in each colour. So USA will want to get rid of the ones at the top, I think, now, and then use that basket.
Joe Polo asking Peterson to throw it hard.
Yeah, hit a quarter.
See Elaine Peters, coach for Team USA, sitting in the little window at the home end. Tough shot here for Peterson. Just need to get it past the guard, but it's going to be on the guard. That opens it up.
Yeah, that was just a little clumsy, I think. There's quite a lot of margin for error there. You need to be catching that guard.
Just throwing 2 more hits.
Lane Peters in her biography tells us that she speaks Canadian as her first language.
Not bad, eh?
How about that?
Okay, you kill those top 2 at least.
See Matsumura pointing his brush to the sidewalk. That would be pretty international for bumper or board weights. So just a controlled weight here. Trying to hit the top yellow and check to the wing. Trying to get some separation. Don't want to cluster all the red stones together. This one's caught curl early. And we see this quite a lot. We talked about it before, just in the last end, Alan. You come inside that draw path. It's going to be a bit fresh. When you're playing these downweight shots, you're going to have to throw usually a bit more than you think.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. The ice is, it's almost untested to a certain extent, coming away from the center. The game pattern is so much towards the middle. Making the adjustment to the right ice for swinging away shots.
It's probably something for our JD Lind to take note of and just make sure his team is prepared for that.
Yeah, I think she also underthrew it for weight as well. Only just crept over the back line, which I think she was looking for a little bit more just to create some separation.
Yeah, it definitely was board weight. That was the call. Just all soft. Fairly experienced players, though, but maybe not as much for mixed doubles. Where those kind of patterns in the ice are just very clear. In the four-person game, it's usually a bit more uniform.
Sorry, I thought that would go.
Joe Polo, perhaps, misread the angles there. They only kill one Japanese counter. Still not looking too bad for USA.
No, it's going to take two red counters to get both those yellows away. They can spin them further around the rings, but they're not both going to leave in one go.
Look at this one. Tap the 6 and flop over. Probably just play a double and lie 2, huh?
You might have to make it. 上がんないよねそこまで。そうだと思う。They shot over us and then. 最後だけだ。
No, we're 1-2. They've got hammer.
Controlled weight takeout again. Wonder if they're just trying to kill one yellow and then maybe wiggle the second. Move the stones about a little bit, free up that second yellow. And I think she's done that. She's maybe just spun a bit too far,
Yeah,
but
I think
that's a very good effort.
That was the desired shot, I think, was to try and keep the played red in front of the one yellow that was going to remain. Make it difficult. As I say, just kept curling. It's run off the object stone too much. Probably see the USA clear that one. Try and put a second yellow counter in.
Yeah, you play nose hit double here, sit 2, catch it here inside. You might get all 3 reds going. Either or. Of course, the triple would eliminate any possibility of scoring a multiple score for Japan.
Not off the edge anymore. Yep. Hard. Hard. Really hard.
Over curling here, Joe Polo gets neither of the back reds, so that opens the door to score 3 here for Japan.
Yeah, that didn't look likely a couple of shots ago, but another half shot.
It's really important to just keep the shooter there, really.
I think he was potentially worried in his head that if he threw it high, he was going to take out the yellow counter that's still there and maybe have rolled his shooter anyway. It would have been an open draw for 3. But just had to make sure of the nose, really.
We did see Yurika Yoshida curl quite a bit in that spot, so maybe just swinging pretty well there, still a bit fresh. As we mentioned, just a second end, so having to keep a keen eye on the tracks. Last stone, second end, Japan with a golden opportunity to put 3 points on the board. Matsumura on the sweep, trying to hold this
one's
straight.
going as well. It's going.
Will they catch the back ones? They will. Does it spill? Ooh, I don't know. I think the third one might hang on. And Joe Polo confirms it.
Yeah, he did. From above, it looked like there's a little bit of clear water, but with no hesitation, Joe gave up the 3.
So, great end for Japan. Turned it around. And a 3-1 game. 2 points up for Japanese on USA.
Shoot. Oh yeah. See anything there? Or is that?
Well, I thought we had hammers, so I was screwed up the whole end. I was happy when not happy that I ticked the guard, but I was like, oh, that's okay. Opens it up. Just watch your pace, guys.
Yeah, we were getting a little slow. Okay.
Good to see that even international, high caliber curlers still sometimes forget the basic rules of the game as to who has got the hammer. Tabitha saying that she was convinced that the USA had the hammer and that they were opening up the guard was a good thing.
I do think it happens more in mixed doubles, just having played it a bit myself.
Yeah, but
It doesn't set up in the way that's
hammer, it gets a little
completely natural to see. There's no corner guards to sort of tip you off. Of course, you could look at the color of the center guard. It's a pretty good suggestion to who has hammer, but it's easy to get a bit lost in it, and the ends are so quick, they all melt together a bit.
Let's stick with that in.
So decent opening for Japan. Probably didn't quite curl as much as they liked, so it's left room for Joe Polo possibly the little tap back. Almost gave us our first comedy moment of the weekend by falling over there, but saved himself.
Got to curl some. No, line's really good. Got to curl a little bit.
Again, just not getting the curl
Hard.
so far.
I could have curled it sooner.
Sorry.
Wait.
Big boost in interest for the sport and the USA after the gold medal for the men's team of John Schuster in Korea 2018. But of course, USA has a pretty long pedigree of curling, a long history. They've been a member of the World Curling Federation since 1966, so one of the oldest members. One of the first nations to play at the first World Championship. Of course, it started with Canada and Scotland, the Scotch Cup.
Yeah, I think we're USA the first nation to break into the stranglehold that Scotland and Canada had at that point. We're the USA the first country to make it a threesome. Possibly Sweden after that.
And we've seen those nations dominate the sport as well. Sweden, Norway, Switzerland, Scotland. But I think that's coming to a bit of a change, slowly but surely. We're seeing a lot of other nations signing up, signing on, putting money into the sport, funding. I think the pedigree helps a lot, just the experience, but of course that experience is being shared across the world now. You're seeing exports in terms of coaches to new nations coming up. We're seeing, for instance, Canadian coaches going to Asia and so on. As we take a look at the other results out there, Alan?
Yeah, sure. On the end sheet to my left, we have New Zealand 2-0 down to England. Second sheet, China taking a short lead over Switzerland, 2-1. Our game is Japan, 3-1 over the US. Estonia now trail 1-3 against Sweden. And it is 3-0 for the Norwegian team against their close neighbours, the Finns, on sheet E. 3-0 for Norway there. How much of Norway and Finland actually touch there, Xander, at the very top of your country?
Not too much. I've never been to that border. Let's put it that way.
The Russian border comes over the top as well, I think there.
Correct.
Do you like just the tap?
There are no trees up there.
No trees.
I'll put it that way. That's so far north that it can't grow.
Good if you can get under the 6 and just move it over.
Yeah,
Yep.
Will they have sunlight yet? In this late in May.
I mean, for a good month or more, the sun does not go down. In the summer, the midnight sun. It's quite spectacular to be up that up so far north, and just look at the sun basically go horizontally across the sky all night.
Superb, superb. Right, well, let's try and unpick what we're lying with here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stones. You could
for you, maybe just inside middle.
Throw a pillowcase over them and you'd cover them all.
It's good, back 8.
Mine's good. Whoa.
Back 12.
Whoa. Got a curl.
Look at the chip in the wide yellow.
Curl.
So Joe Pola trying to
carve
it in, yeah, just to get a slight touch, but it goes past everything. Just not just the back red.
Yeah, you can see that shot was really on. Just any contact on that yellow is going to push it in towards the button. They had a pocket there to use. Tabitha just overthrown that one slightly. Joe amended the call to back 12, but I think it was bigger than that still. That was a good chance, I thought, for the US there.
You can hear the comment from Joe Pola saying it's quite weight sensitive, and that meaning if you throw a couple of feet too much, you're not going to be close for a line, which is a good thing. Asks the questions of these athletes to be precise.
Yeah, because otherwise they can make it look very easy. If there isn't that sensitivity, they can make the game look ridiculously easy sometimes. And it's quite nice to have their all-round skills tested on ice like this. You can't throw the stone anywhere and get a result. You need to be precise. You need to be accurate. You need to get your line calls right. You need to get your weight calls right. It's a great all-round test.
Because there is such a big break at the very end, so if you just add a bit too much, that break comes too late. And we've seen that now from the last 2 shots here.
The shot's not quite as easy now because of that red that's been placed on the outside corner. However, it is there at the very precise weight, but it's going to be difficult to get inside the near corner of a round thing. It's going to be difficult to get inside the red stone.
I don't know, I think you got to be a hair high. Back 8.
Go ahead, yeah.
Taking a bit of weight off this one. And there's the difficulty. Over curled that one. Didn't get the right angle on the yellow they're looking for.
Okay. Well, we're shot for sure now.
Closed down one side.
Yeah, I know. Should we might be able to just hit the outside of the red and it goes off the back side of the red. But it's.
I can hear Joe Pola looking at the wide slash. If you ever chisel that wide red onto the yellow, that's just on the 2 o'clock position of the forefoot, comes off the red top 4 and spins back down onto the back stones for 2.
I think it misses ours. It probably just clips theirs and clips theirs. Might be for 3 or 4 if he doesn't get one down in here. Take a look at it quick.
Looks like maybe Yuta Matsumura is just trying to freeze the shot stone here.
Yeah,
I think if it
he
never
can freeze it. It's going to make the scoring zone pretty small. I think Joe Polo's
all the way down in here though, so
combination shot might be their only option. Frees are just short of the object stone here. Going to curl now. Just glance the red.
Yeah, I think the shot's still there for Joe Polo. Doesn't even have to throw too much weight, just to nudge it in.
I mean, you could play it just to tap.
I mean, does it? I don't think it ever hits our 3. Look at it. So
But I
if,
don't
if
think
it misses our 3 and catches this, it's for 3.
No, it's not, because these are out. Or you
I'm
think
gonna
that's
t- I'm
going to
gonna-
scoot?
I'm gonna scoot that to just out,
And
out of
this
the
one?
4 foot. Yeah, maybe. I can throw it softer if you want. I'll just throw normal.
Okay.
I don't quite see it for 3.
Never say never, but I don't see it for 3 either.
It's just more about which weight you feel most comfortable making the right contact with. It's good. You can make it for 2 with hack weight or more. So they're throwing normal. Feels like he's not going to be able to move his shot stone too far. So either way he throws, it should be okay if he makes the right contact point. Last stone. Third end for Team USA and Joe Polo.
Well,
So contact in the outer portion of the red is #1 priority, and
No contact.
we will never know. We will never.
So just 1 for USA. We saw a few shots not quite finish down that path, maybe not swinging as big. And Joe Polo is really nowhere close with his attempt.
I curled less than my peel.
So just a single for USA. Japan will lead 3-2 after 3 ends.
All right. Shoot. Sorry. A little heavy, maybe? Okay. It just didn't drain. So, okay.
Like, what we've been seeing even with that back line. Maybe
Yeah.
straighter over there.
Okay. Okay.
It's tough out there. I feel like the ice is different than last night. Like, I felt like last night.
All right. It's a good freezer.
Yeah.
There we go again. 4th end, Joe Polo. Finished us off in the 3rd end. Had the chance to score a couple. Went past everything, so just a single for Team USA. Joe Polo will try to put this one in a good place. Maybe pick up a steal and tie this game before halftime break. Of course, we play 8 ends in mixed doubles curling. I'm Sander Olvang, joined by
Aiming on those.
Alan Chalmers.
Exact same spot. Right here.
Yeah, I think USA will be disappointing not to maybe got a slightly better result out the last end. But it's really reflective of their play so far. There's a lot of half shots, 3/4 shots. It's not going to require a huge percentage increase for them to be right back in this game, and they'll not be despondent at 3-2 down. Over half the game to go.
For Japan, coming off a pretty, let's say, subpar game against Estonia yesterday. I'll be happy to find some more momentum in this one, build their confidence. You see Matsumura coming up a bit heavy here again.
See if those half shots start going for the States and not for Japan, then the game will quickly turn around. It's amazing how punishing a half shot can be in this format of the game.
And when you get a half shot from your opponent, you really need to capitalize and put the pressure on. And Matsumura's not done that here.
If you can jump all over the half shots with a great shot of your own, then pressure multiplies.
Line's okay. Line's okay.
Okay. Sit.
So nice shot by Tabitha. Maybe just super critical, seeing it was heavy again, but everything coming behind the rings. So we're just going to go back and have a look at the last stone of the previous end for China versus Switzerland. Switzerland with the hammer. 2-1 down, and looks like they've got a fairly comfortable, wide open bit of land to hit to score 2. No panic on the sweeping. Lots of line. Just gently coax this in, and that is going to be a 2 for Switzerland against China, and they go 3-2 up after 3 ends.
In our game, we see Yoshida making contact with every stone in play. So they've all moved around.
I think so. Top 4.
Play that run back. He pinballed across the yellows. USA still lying too, albeit in the open. They'll have a chance to put another counter in there.
Yeah, I think they need to. Those yellows, well, one can certainly go. The other one looks like it's going to jam back on with some of those deeper reds, but I don't think Japan would mind that too much at this point. Kind of crucial stone here for the States.
Really nice. I thought about this last year's double, but they're double jams here, so.
Absolutely no hesitation. What they were looking for here, they're looking to drive the front guard, peel it off, and if they catch some yellow stones on the way through, I think that's they're delighted with that. But that was their initial call.
Yeah, a few options here.
Not the obvious call, I don't think, at this point, but I guess they want the button open. They've got other counters.
Could make the double off the shot stone here too. Just want to catch something. I would love to put another red stone in the ring.
To swing now, is it going to touch any yellows? No, it's not. So
it's not really helping Japan all too much.
No extra credit for that one. They played the shot as basic as it could be played. Basically as it could be played. Didn't get any afters from that one.
Of course, you won't have that chance again because now the guard will be yellow. There'll be less incentive to run it back.
Line's good right now.
Might as well bring this fairly close to the rings for USA, because you know Japan most likely will come around and try and tap that shot stone.
Whoa, it should be fine. Whoa. Yep, finish. Whoa. Yep.
I think she wants this to curl. I think she wants to show them the left-hand edge rather than the right-hand edge if possible. Yeah, that's good cover there.
That's pretty perfect. Close to the rings. Makes it very tough for Japan. They might have to run it back again to just open it up.
Yeah, I think they'd like to get this one off the button now, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's such a good stone placement there, top button. If they can get it off, hope to maybe have USA place it in a worse spot and leave a bit more room to score.
I think I've got to be a little outside edge there now.
Especially if you're like, that was like all the way. If it's a 1 though, it might not curl.
It's a 1, it might not get there. So. I'm going to try to throw an inside halfway guard.
Yeah, 2.5, 3.
Guess if she makes noise in here, we got to think about it a little bit. Pretty good. Might be over curling.
Same kind of call again, this one. I think I heard Joe in the background say that he thinks this one's over curling, so she's taken off the single peel again, but on the low side this time. So no real benefit yet.
Certainly wasn't far away. just chisel that shot stone off the button. But that still remains.
You just threw a 4-0.
Yeah. And it didn't need any help.
No.
Probably the same call, same zone.
Yeah, I think so. It's a pretty good spot.
I think it's 3. It's all there.
Okay,
Can't even afford to come into the rings top 12 here.
Easy tap.
It's more about the line.
Line's pretty good. It's got a curl of hair. Got a
Might
curl.
force
still.
Japan to have to draw a side button.
Weight's nice.
Hard all the way up to the line. Hard. Hard. Hard.
That's a very, very nice play.
It's a very good stone there, showing no sides. The button for your 1, or do you go maybe more sensible and more safety conscious and just nose hit on the left? No, it's he fancies he's got the button in his pocket.
Yeah, even just forfeit here, cut them down to 1 would be acceptable for Japan. They'd have a tied game and keep the last one advantage coming into halftime.
So better end for the States here. They've put a bit more pressure on, forcing the one from Japan if need be, or stealing themselves. So they'll be happy. They'll upturn in their fortunes.
It's good.
And this one will land right
With
side
the
button.
spin and gets the shot, I think. Yep.
Very, very nice draw by Yuta Matsumura. And it's a nice finish to the first half of this game. Japan will increase their lead by 1. And it's a 4-2 lead coming into halftime. Smiles all around for Team Japan.
Well,
USA
absolutely no wonder.
has a little bit to think about before 5th end.
Got some. You can offer, but I'm not going to.
10.1。
Power play on her next hammer, not this one. Yeah. We've been getting the better of the angles for the most part, just haven't been making a big one.
Yeah, right.
So whilst the players take their halftime snack and coaches chat, we're just going to look back at the first 4 ends.
12:02.
Small chance here for Joe Polo to take a 2 in the first end. A little bit of space to draw to.
I think it's close. I think I got it.
For ultimately didn't quite curl enough. Tabitha Peterson trying her best to get it moving, but it just eventually hits the red. Too much on the nose, but it's a score of 1 to the States in the first end, 1-0. Second end, a little bit out of the blue. We weren't really forecasting that Japan was going to score as many as they did here, but one bad shot by Joe Polo with his last stone allowed to Japan a relatively comfortable tap back for 3. And this is the stone we're just referring to. Got tap back for 3. Yuto Matsumura up sweeping his own stone. Gets more of the stone than I think he was looking for, and just about only gets a 2, but a quick concession of 3. 3-1 Japan after 2. Now look at this for a mixed doubles end. There's a pile of stones in play here. Joe Polo again has another shot, maybe more tricky shot than previously. Another shot for a 2 here. It's any contact on a red to hit another yellow and just runs it by. A chance wasted there. However, they score the one, 3-2 Japan as we went into the fourth end. USA had a really good end here, well set up, looking quite comfortable, we thought, until Yuto Matsumura plays probably the best draw we've seen in the games we've watched so far in this kind of pressure situation. Sweep, 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 takes the rub off, spins in. Thank you very much. We'll take a 1 and we will lead 4-2 Japan over the States.
Nice shot. Thank you.
Taking a look at the numbers, we see Japan with a higher percentage so far. USA certainly have made a lot of half shots, as you mentioned, Alan.
Any words
Not
of advice?
as on point as they were against China yesterday.
Okay. Well, we'll do that in the second half. See how that goes.
See the hit percentage fairly low. They've had some good opportunities for a few nice hits. We've had a few complete misses, both from Joe Polo and Tabitha Peterson.
Sometimes it doesn't go your way.
Yeah, and I think we heard the two American players saying at one point in the ends how critical their weight control is, that they're being quite heavily punished for stones that are just slightly heavier than they maybe originally called. But they'll fine-tune that and come back strong in the second half, I think. Across the rest of the sheet, we have New Zealand leading England 4-3. Tight game across there. Second game down, China 2, Switzerland 3. Our own game, Japan 4, United States 2. Currently Estonia 2, Sweden 4, and Norway 4, Finland 2. And all those games are either in their half-time break or started the fifth end.
Looks like our teams are pretty much ready to get going with the second half of this game. Japan, USA, fairly close contest. USA will have last stone, trailing by 2. Yuta Matsumura looking a little happier today than he did yesterday. Things were not going their way. Playing Estonia, but much better so far. Very focused individual, Matsumura. So you see the ice makers will run the mop up and down the ice. Sometimes we've seen the ice run a bit quicker after the halftime break. This one's not too bad for weight, just a bit tight for line.
Yeah, that one's just over curled. They were sweeping it maybe just to try and keep the weight on it, but ultimately over curled and popped out. Most of it showing out the low side, so round the guard and one full stone out the other way. So
I think it's close.
Okay, go ahead then.
great mixed doubles curling ice.
Looks like it's starting to croak a little.
I think it's close.
Okay, top button.
Top button.
There's a little room for the States to come in here.
Sorry, Joe.
It's okay.
Throw.
So you mentioned how this American duo picked up the bronze medal back in 2016, and Schuster and Christensen picked up the same medal in Stavanger 2 years ago. For Japan, they haven't been the most prominent mixed doubles nation, but they certainly had some better results in the last few years. Back in 18 and 19, the duo of Yamaguchi and Fujisawa made the quarterfinals both years, only to lose out, so getting closer. But that is the best finish they've had in this championship, Japan.
Just freeze.
Just been caught out a little bit on the ice there.
Freeze them.
Taking a look at Norway, Finland. I believe it's Finland's power play end here in the fourth. Una Kausta with last stone.
Yeah, so open draw for 2. In the power play, the stones are quite wide open. The rings looking quite inviting. Both sweepers having to put everything into this one. any touch of the blue or the white into the red. And well worked too. Brings them back into the game 4-2. Norway lead.
Yeah, 2-point lead and power play in hand for the Norwegians. Well, still a long way to go. Same for our game. Just the fifth end. Yeah.
82.
But the game goes by quick. And definitely as a player as well, the game really goes by so fast. Sometimes, especially when you've lost a game at the end, you wonder what happened.
Yeah, they're 2/3 out there.
That is the appeal as well, though, of this discipline. It's a fairly fast-paced game. And often a lot of fun for the players, just because you're so involved. You're half the team in every sense as a player.
Right, well, I don't think that was the called shot, so we will assume that she was trying to play down onto the nose. It's run a little bit high. End up tapping yellow in onto the button, and I think that's a very secure USA shot at the moment, given they still have to play themselves. So Japan just not come out totally focused so far in the second half. There were a couple of half shots, and that would be a generous half, that last one. Early call. There might be some debris or a hair or something under this one. Required a little bit of an extra shove, and I think recognise that that was not going to be of an awful lot use to them. It's in play. It's another stone that's blocked a path, but the pick up under the stone as Tabitha Peterson slid out there just cost any momentum on that stone.
That's a bummer. Yeah. Nothing really easy right now.
Run the long four.
Dead on the nose. I mean, you could throw it kind of hard through the hole here this way and just kill our back one in there and let two. And they're going to have a tough time.
Here the USA plodding their way through the last few stones of this end. As Japan do everything they can to counteract. It's just going to come in a little short again. What that has done is it's blocked the one shot that Joe Polo was talking about there, which was to come through and hit the red out, sacrificing the back yellow.
Thought it was deeper there, Shida. Left it too long.
Pretty safe here. I think this doesn't go through. Yeah. I think just try to tap it to there for a second.
USA are going to try and play a delicate shot through the left-hand port, hitting the top of the closest yellow to us in the rings. Push it in, foot 45 degrees in, maybe in for a second shot. Pretty precise this. It's a small port.
So just like two-way.
That's good.
I wonder if this is the side of the sheet we've seen a bit less curl sometimes. Joe Polo is trying to carve it in. Looking close here. Looking very close. Past the center guard, past the wide rock, and taps the yellow up to lie two. Excellent shooting from Tabitha Peterson.
Yes.
From this angle, that looked like a very hard shot. She made it look easy.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, she got even further onto the yellow than I first forecast as well. I thought she was hitting a little bit less than that, but she actually got into the low side of this, I think, Xander, in actual fact.
That's a tough 3 now.
Yeah. So that is a wonderful shot, and that's a question or two of Japan here.
Trying to roll shooter in. All right, well, I'm probably going to end up just throwing like board weight through that hole and try to kick 5 off of that one and spin it in. You know what I mean?
Dear Joe Polo already planning the next shot. It's kind of vital in mixed doubles to just try to think at least one shot ahead to save some time. It can be hard to predict what's going to happen when there's so many stones in play.
That's right, and the clock forever counting down. There we go again, just that extra bit of running. I think trying to get the inside of that red really there, but he's rushed it by. Well, maybe not. I haven't looked at that. Yellow was more of a block than I thought, but just yet another stone that's run by the top side. The extra running.
Let's try this.
First option USA was thinking was to come through the same port with a bit more weight, hit the yellow, have it spin off the red, but I don't think it's going to make it to the top button for 3. So the only other option is come on the left-hand side as we see it, and just wiggle off the wide left red and roll onto the button.
I'll kind of throw it out there with a dead handle.
And I think the shot's there. Just obviously can't throw any weight you want because the guard's a bit in the way.
Yeah, it's the guard's also a long way out. I think that's in the US favor at the moment, but the weight is critical in this one.
Last stone, Joe Polo.
Probably backline.
Could roll it in for 3. But this one looking very wide. I'm not sure if this one's going to come off for Joe Polo. A couple of feet past the guard. Maybe also getting caught out in that spot. But they will score the 2. Team USA. And that ties the game up after 5 ends. Good end for USA, not looking too happy. They were hoping to get that 3, but I think they'll take it.
Okay.
Tied game after all.
We're just kind of banking on catching some fresh stuff out there and going. All right. Almost a tragedy. I was just trying to get over, just get inside there and kiss that one that hit the outside. Kiss it and spin in. It's close to that guard, I think it goes. I mean, I could see over half of it. If we're trying to kiss the inside of it, I mean, it's only got a curl or rock. No. Huh?
I had a big fuzzy on the rock.
Yeah, I saw there was a scratch underneath it. Okay.
6.
3 good ends. I'll throw that out turn. I'll just go edge instead of inside edge.
Okay.
Joe Polo will get us going. And the 6th end, tied game. Japan, USA.
That's good.
Exactly what we can wish for as neutral fans anyway.
Nice tap.
I'm sure there's some Japanese and American fans sitting at home wanting a bit more of a lopsided game in the favor of their favorite team.
Curl, curl. Good, good.
But it's always more exciting, Alan, if
Good, Joe.
your team wins with a close margin. Makes it a bit more exciting.
Exactly. We would love a big grandstand finish, and we want to see a shot to win a game. Feels this game might be building to that kind of climax. Clearly have to declare my allegiances at this one, Xander, otherwise Mrs. Chalmers back at home will not be happy. So my wife is from New York, America, and therefore I'm probably not totally impartial. So I'm hoping curling is the winner.
Well, I have no strings here, so I'm just hoping for good shots to be made. And I think we've seen quite a few good ones, but of course we've seen some blunders as well.
Good start to this end. Both stones probably absolutely as the player wanted to play them. So we've got a good setup already.
That's pretty good.
Yep, you're right. Gotta go.
You need to work this one hard though. Want to try and get this touching the red on the angles. Good sweep.
Very nice.
Excellent sweep and good angles there, I think. Xander, liking the look of that one.
We'll take a look at New Zealand, England as well. Tight game over on sheet A.
This is Courtney Smith playing last rocks for New Zealand. Looks like there's a combination shot coming up to remove one of the England counters. Leaves the red one on the button as one, so that's one more point to New Zealand, who currently lead 5-3 after 5 ends, and England have taken their power play in the next end, so we'll give an update on that one shortly.
Tabitha Peterson on the clockwise draw. There's a good chance to nestle one in there into the pocket.
Yep, out in turn hand, clockwise rotation hand is nicely open. Use your own yellow backer to maybe redirect. Just lock it in.
Get in there. Good shot.
I didn't want to move that yellow too far, but does nestle in for shot stone.
Yeah, just an extra foot or so of running. Just didn't quite take as much curl as they wanted. Like I said, maybe moved that yellow a touch further than ideally you'd have liked. But lying well now. USA always playing, looks like, the in-turn side of this sheet, and Japan always playing the out-turn side. So the angles will batter back and forward for a little bit more. Change the angles again and make some of those yellow ones, if not redundant, certainly not going to be scoring at the end of the end.
Pretty good. This 4 stays.
That's a pretty good shot there by Yoshida.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then if they do that.
Those reds are angled right back onto the yellows as well.
Trailed, right?
Unless is there anything.
It just goes on to here. Unless you just want to get one in here.
I think that's
If
the
you get
shot,
another
Joe.
one in here, it's probably really good. They never get it out because they got to move 2 rocks.
I mean, I just did it.
You just threw it, so throw it again.
Yeah, you very much want to control the front, but when you only have 2 stones left and you have all those reds in the top 4, it's probably too late to start moving them back. So thinking to just get a good stone in, get a good chunk of the button, take away the scoring area.
Yeah, I think there's room possibly here to get into lie a second shot, but it would be absolutely jammed onto a number of stones potentially, and unlikely that Japan could clear out of the 1 stone. We're going to take 2, and that's all they've got left. So kind of crucial. Both players now having to work this one pretty hard.
This one looks pretty shy out the gate. can see Joe Polo was all over it, out of hand. So Japan might play the same shot now. And this is where you know you can afford to play onto the backing. But so often, especially mixed doubles, if you call a shot, if you call 2 shots in one, you often end up with something in between. So if you ice for the draw, thinking if you're heavy, it's okay, you might not get that line and you could end up chipping off the yellow on the high side.
Yep.
I think it's really important to just call 1 shot and go for it. Of course, you always keep the option in mind. But if you're throwing 2 shots at once, it's very often you're stuck or caught in between.
Yeah, I think, I mean, realistically, there's no way she should ever have been short there, even with a 2-shot option, plenty backing there. So just a bit cautious. However, we've seen the opposite happen on that one.
That was my worry.
They've probably taken the same ice as the US because they were trying to play the same shot, in theory. The US undercooked and the Japanese overcooked both shots, and nothing has particularly changed.
And we're losing this one too, which is protecting this.
Still slight advantage Japan at the moment, but I think the US probably just want to play the same kind of shot. They can see a corner of the button in there. Probably keeps Japan to scoring a 1 at this end if they play it perfectly.
Because we're just killing all these and it's not any good.
If you played it with a touch of weight, you might be able to actually hit the red and slide it back an inch sideways off the button and lie yourself. Maybe a bit too brave at this stage.
So where are you at?
I was edge of 12.
Okay.
So they get a second chance here to get in there.
Mine's good.
Last one for USA.
Easy.
1 to go from Japan.
Mine's really good. Yep. Go ahead.
Maybe just a bit shy again.
Just
really
that
trying to
wider
drag
path, wider path, yep, sorry.
Damn it.
What's left for Japan? Surely a little double tap to get in for 2. I don't think they can score more than that, but looks pretty automatic.
I really like what I throw too.
They're thinking coming on the wide end turn and get in there for 3. I guess they're maybe lying to already.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it pretty closely. I think they seem to be thinking they're already lying the 2 and they don't need to move the top red any closer. So they're trying to scream one round the very short yellow and at the top of the rings there.
Yeah, I think the shot might be just there. Might have to throw it dead weight out of hand though to just get the maximum curl. Just have it hook in at the end.
Yeah, not too many rotations on the stone maybe either.
Coming out the left-handed hack is not helping Matsumura on
It's
this
pushing
occasion.
him further away from the object, isn't it?
Gets a different angle coming in. I think he's on to something though here. It doesn't curl enough. Nope, not quite. Had to be much snugger to the yellow. Weight was perfect. Actually nudges the yellow, but I don't think it does much.
Yeah, I don't think that's the yellow that would be measuring if they had to. No, it would have been the one at the back. So that looks like 2 red. 2 to Japan.
2 indeed. So Japan will go ahead again. It's now a 6-4 game for the Japanese. 2 ends to go on this one. A very close battle between the 2 sides.
なイメージ？こんなもん？
ね、いいと思う。
Seventh end, and we see our first power play. Wonder if I need a catchphrase for that, Alan.
A little fanfare or sort of
power play. I don't know. We can workshop it later, but
yes,
explain to us what this means, Alan.
Well, what happens now is because the USA have the hammer, they are allowed to dictate the positioning of the stones, and this time they've gone for the wide left option, which means that instead of a center guard and one on the button, they have a wide guard and one on the tee line. Traditionally used as a way to keep the middle more open when you have the hammer, to try and maximize your scoring. You usually took a safe 2, sometimes more. I think given that Japan have already knocked the corner guard into the rings as called, USA are thinking now that this is a power play for a 2 in what we might call old-fashioned conventional 4-person curling style.
Go ahead. Looks like you need to go.
And that's it, Xander. I think there's no point waiting. The US probably only got one more hammer in this game, so they had to use it now or lose it.
Well, a very nice shot by Japan, kind of neutralizing the corner.
Totally neutralized it, yeah.
And Joe Polo coming up short, just fresh. You can hear him say again, we've spoken about it many times.
Crossing the line.
Yeah, if you just play any other path than to the button, it most likely will be slower. But, you know, Joe Polo should know that, even though it's only the second game. It is pretty standard in mixed doubles curling that you'll see the tracks. Just having to expect that it's going to run a bit slower when you play a new path. Even if it's in the 7th end. And you'll see maybe Matsumura being caught out as well. We'll see. Certainly sweeping this one coast to coast to try and drag it there. Not going to get there in the end. I think we've seen this now many times across the games we've done so far. And we'll just pop on over. Norway, Finland. Norway up by 4. Una Kauste with last stone. Brother Aku on the sweep. I think a chance for Finland to pick up a few points here.
Yep, Finland already lying 1, so this is a free draw for 2. No panic on the sweep. There's a nice little red stone to use as some backing. It's got a curl a touch. Here it comes now. Well judged. Uses the backing. Quick look by the vice skips, if that's what we can call them in mixed doubles curling. I don't really know. And still looking. We know that it's definitely 1. We can see it's 1.
I think to confirm that was a 2, Alan.
Yes.
See it on the scoreboard now.
You can see the scoreboard. It looked like 2. They were just being very careful with their checking.
I don't have the statistics, Alan, but I would dare say there are more measures in mixed doubles curling than any other type of curling.
Well, for a man who prides himself on being the king of the stats, not having that to hand.
We're going to have to ask our stats man Christian Sager for that one, maybe. I don't know if he...
Does he keep a record of it?
We might have to ask him to do that from now on.
From now on, there's another string to his bow.
Yuta Matsumura. There's a second of 3 stones.
Be a little careful here.
Yeah, I don't want to catch it on the center line side and straight jam it. Corner guard's in play as well. Oh, it's going to catch the corner. Does it catch the side one? No.
So that's a bit careless. There was more room than that, I think. Let's give the States a slight opening here.
It's typical. You sit in the hack thinking, well, I can't be high side with this one. So you end up overthinking it. You throw it tight.
Yeah.
Didn't look like the easiest shot, to be fair there.
Right to splitting the edge of the 8-foot like the other one is in the house. So.
Shaping up to be a strong power play end for USA. Maybe a 3 is in play.
So looking to split the rings, move one across onto the left-hand side. We've got one third counter behind the guard, and first counter not quite frozen, but well aligned with a red one right behind it. So not too worried that Japan are going to inflict too much damage with their next shot. So they've tried to play one to score another counter, which they have done by drawing deep into the rings this time. And they have called a timeout.
We probably need to address this shot, huh?
J.D. Lind comes on to the field of play.
Get a big end here. Kind of screwed.
Yes.
Yeah, 4. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
Sure. 浜崎と同じ
同じでいいね。
Couldn't quite make out everything that was said in that timeout, but I think I heard Yoshida said 3 is okay, thinking, you know, look at the scoreboard. If we gave up 3, we'll just be the 1 down, and we can use our power play. Just make sure you don't bring 4 into the question here.
Yeah, that was very level-headed thinking. It's easy to get dragged into going for tricky shots, and then, as you say, Xander, you're looking at a 4 because you've missed the half shot. So clear thinking.
They aren't playing the draw.
Teacup.
You could peel the open yellow, but USA might come around the corner, and then if you miss your shot, you give up 4 anyway. Just thinking this is the higher percentage chance of causing some trouble for USA.
Line looks good.
Again, the draw is often the default shot in mixed doubles, and that is beautifully played by Matsumura. That's going to really help.
It's going to sting a little.
Well,
What could be a 4-ender now is maybe just a 2 for USA with that shot.
you want to take a timeout and talk about it, or we can just throw one there? That's pretty good. Actually, that's really good. I mean, if we get one there, I might be able to make that on the next one. Okay.
And then at least we maybe guarantee.
You know the line,
our
you
2.
just threw it.
Yeah. I aimed about here, Joe.
Okay.
And it went there. You probably need a little more. We got to make sure we're second, right?
How hard do you want to go for the 3, knowing you'll have to steal against a power play with this to score of 2?
Oh, it's my shot.
Yeah, stealing power play doesn't look easy if
You got this.
you're not going to try and click the guard, I guess, to begin with. You're going to try and play your center guard yourself. So 2 and a steal, maybe easier than 3 in defending a 2. I don't know.
Looks pretty good.
Maybe light, actually.
You just have to look at the shots available to you as well. Not really sure what shot to play if you wanted to go for a 3 or 4 here.
No,
Nothing easy.
The error was the last draw, which just ended up slipping behind the tee.
Trying to lock this on the corner of the red and sit 2. Will they get there in the end? Yes, very good sweeping. I think that's enough, or is it? Maybe not.
Maybe not quite.
Sorry.
But think, yeah, well.
もそれも
Yeah.
一緒に連れてっちゃうとまずいよね。
It's still quite a usable stone if Japan make an error on this one. Might be some angles that it can use. The red one will probably not catch the very back yellow now. Spin wide of it, plenty of rotation.
A much better game from Matsumura today.
Yes, much better than last night, wasn't it?
I was also faced with a lot of difficult last stones yesterday. I had to play a lot of double run backs to cut down the score. He's had a few more opportunities in this one. I think they're just drawing here. They could obviously just try and peel the open yellow. Just wonder if they're worried if they ever double off both stones, their own including, and roll off. There might be some way for USA to score more than 2. I'm not sure, but it's probably the thinking here.
Yeah, another well-positioned stone. Not the shot, but
No, I don't think this
unusable now.
squirts in. I mean, it might, but I think it's probably not worth it.
But yeah, I mean you can't.
Just draw.
Yeah.
Makes the choice simple for USA, at least. Draw for 2.
If it was the last end and we had to have it, I'd say we could throw it, but
Sure.
throw that same in I've been playing.
Again, thinking maybe there was a shot for 3 there, but such a low percentage shot. More likely you can make the draw for 2 and then steal on the next one. Last stone, 7th end, Joe Polo. Does need to make this one count though. Nibble of the forfeit is more than enough. They seem to be in control. A few licks of the brush from Tabitha Peterson and right on the pin from Joe Polo. That is 2 points for USA. This game has gone back and forth. We're tied again at 6. 1 end to play. And I think we'll see the power play come out for Japan.
So like a tight one, then a high one? I think so. If they try to tick, just keep going after it. Just keep going center guard. Yep.
Cooperate, please.
So
Cooperate.
going center guard, right? Less.
Probably tight.
Not pressing the tick though.
Probably tight, and if they miss the tick, they'll go high.
What would they do if we go top 4? Net guard.
They might try to freeze it or
Eh,
tap it around. Like I would try to tap it off the forefoot, right?
We've seen this spot for the guard.
Yep.
Power play is indeed in play for Japan. You see the red P on the scoreboard.
That was your power play.
Yep. I'm not too confident about that one.
We'll trademark that one. I trademark. I think there's money in this. But American are going to ignore the power play formation, and they're going to just lob up some center guards. Heard them talking at the break there. Maybe one short, one long. which is what we would kind of see in foursomes curling. We would expect that. No, maybe not with the corner stone already in play, but they would be looking at guards. And Japan will probably try and tick. So
the tough aspect, though, is in four-person curling, you can put 2 center guards in the free guard zone, and here you can only really put 1. So it is quite tough to steal against the power play.
Yes.
Especially if this tech shot is made.
Yes.
Yes.
And we do see
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yoshida now playing shots 1 and 5, so they switch the positions. Thinking that they'll utilize Matsumura's upweight ability to clear. And Yoshida not able to make the tech shot.
Yeah. And, yeah, Yoshida is a lead by profession. So I would be maybe more used to playing those delicate tech shots, but not on that occasion.
High one.
What?
A 1.
Okay.
So
I can see the thinking. Have Matsumura play the big peels at the same time. Would you not maybe keep Matsumura's cool head playing skip and his men's team? That cool head to draw the button for the win, which he's done so many times. There's probably a discussion there.
yeah, I think you're right. I think they're using the fact that he's got some firepower up the middle. We can maybe see some doubles go, and then Yoshida will be left with the draw herself.
Well, looking on Sweden, Estonia, as Matsumura gets ready to peel some guards.
Yep, so stones underway. Estonia playing the red stones here. We can see that they're lying the second shot. Sweden are lying an open 1, and nice little simple tap back from Marie. Scores in the 2 and closes the gap. It's still quite a big gap, but it's now 6 Estonia, 9 Sweden as they go into the last end. Very much a good shot to keep that game alive, but it's going to be a tough ask to steal a 3.
And meanwhile, Matsumura was looking for the double peel.
I think the rest of our shots are pretty simple.
Somehow he's been able to spin a red one in top 8.
We could either throw
Still
the
leaves a guard, though.
red. I mean, we can still throw another guard. Right?
You can see it again here.
I'm just thinking with him peeling.
Just a little wide, I believe. Catches that thin, but then pinballs off to the corner guard and spins in top 8. So
My gut is to throw the outturn tap.
not sure if it's necessarily helping Japan.
With him peeling, we-
Could act like a second guard for USA.
I mean, we could throw another guard too.
Yeah, it is another guard at the moment. I think there'll be a third guard coming, I think, if they were wanting. And then play the big draw behind
So basically the same
one of their
line
last
we
2
just gone
stones.
through.
And then if they just get the single, then do we do it again or do we tap? Yeah,
Right? I guess I'm just worried about if we ever have to try to make this, he's got an easy run.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
But I'd like one more ball.
okay,
So we can do it on my second one if he just gets the
on your
single.
third.
My
Yep,
next, I have 2
you're
more.
next. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Okay. So, so they don't mind.
Well, timeout over. Tabitha Peterson.
近い方から来るか。
そうね。見え
That's
方
good.
が。
Just another guard. Does look like they just want to have this just creep over the hog line. hoping Japan will peel the top one and then make the move come into the forfeit.
Yeah, it's just come a little closer to the yellows they maybe would have liked.
I got the same exact split.
Yeah.
同じだね
Double is on, but could jam on the reds.
Okay, so if he makes a double peel, we probably have to go back forfeit.
Maybe just a single play here, you're right, Xander. I think the angles would not be good to get the double. He's going to have to claw it back a little bit. I think maybe just a single peel will do for the time being. Easy power.
I think so. Actually, if we can get a hair inside of it and just tap into the back of the 8-foot, it's really good.
Okay.
So where do you place this one? You can see that stone top 8. It's probably usable for Japan.
Yeah, I think they're worried about drawing behind it because it's quite a short run back they would have,
We're back four,
and especially with
back
another counter already in. So I think
Back
they're
line.
looking to play to the nose, push this one back themselves, and then maybe have an option with their last stone. And playing a patient game.
Just played that very well.
Yep, that was the called shot. Maybe slightly deeper than they're looking for. Slightly deeper than that. They said back 8, but back 4 is pretty good. I think they'll be happy with that. That gives them some options with their last stone.
I'm a bit surprised. I think I'd be very tempted to just maybe have drawn there and see Japan either follow the draw or play the top 8 stone. If they ever make a mistake on the top 8 stone, you can draw around again, sit 2 fully buried.
Yeah, hoping for a mistake here now more than anything, aren't they? There's very little pressure on the stone. They can bump and run, away they go, and it's a very open shot with their last, should be looming.
In the end, she played it very well, and definitely have something to freeze on to. Or dare I say I spoke too early. Matsumura actually gets that stone on the back 4 off the forfeit, and that is very good for Japan. And now it's just that single center guard for USA, and it's quite a high one as well.
Yeah, it's well, precisely halfway down towards the hog line, so there should be room on either hand, no matter where Joe Polo puts this one, especially with extra counters. So if they can see a piece of it, they might play the up weight. Need to be a bit more delicate. There's still room to play a down weight.
So might have to try and keep this a little bit high. Maybe just nibbling the forfeit, really. If you come deep into the button, Japan can easily follow and just tap it.
This one's, again, plenty room. You can hear them asking it to curl. Use the brooms to make it curl.
Well, if they don't have the line,
They,
you're going to have to go for curl. Never mind that it slips behind the tee line. So they do get it buried, but it is back 4.
Shoot, had to go to get a curl.
So the button is very much open for Yoshida. Last stone of the game coming very soon. So Matsumura's kept it open enough for Yoshida. But of course this is a typical Skips shot though. Play the open draw. And without your 2 sweepers, this is a high pressure shot for Yoshida. Last stone, 8th end. Have to do it all herself basically. Not touching it yet.
little hot.
Well, it's very typical to maybe add a bit weight, knowing you don't have your sweepers. This one is nowhere close. I think the pressure maybe getting to Yoshida on that one.
Change of lineup. Maybe just she hadn't been playing any skip stones up till then.
Well, I questioned it at the start of the end, Alan. And it's, of course, easy to say again post-game. But you would just think Matsumura, maybe with the experience at skip, would be a bit more cool-headed in that situation. So USA will pick up the steal, and they'll pick up the win as well. 7-6 final score. So Japan moves to 0-2. USA to 2-0.
Promise?
Of course, other games have been played this afternoon. We'll bring you up to date on the scores elsewhere, as well as take a look back at our featured game that now came to a close. Hopefully get a word in with Joe Polo and Tabitha Peterson as well.
Can I have my pockets open?
My pockets are open.
Perfect.
So resuming after the break, it was 4-2 Japan going into this end. Been a lovely, lovely setup play. Lovely setup play throughout this end. Tabitha Peterson plays a very delicate through the port tap up. The yellow at the top of the forefoot, hits it straight back. Gently in and counted a very good 2. I think ultimately Japan didn't manage to outscore that. There was a chance for Joe Polo to add to the 2 they were already lying, but just fraction too big possibly. Didn't take the curl, but a very good 2 for the US because of the Peterson shot. Moving on to the 6th. Another bundle of stones lying, covering the forefoot. At this point, Japan are lying 2, and this was for more extra points, but given how congested that forefoot circle was, it was pretty difficult to play the line. Matsumura tried to play an out-turn draw. Perfect for weight, but realistically, getting inside that yellow around that short guard was nigh on impossible. So, but 2 for Japan. USA took their power play in the next, and although they were set up nicely at one point, eventually came down to Joe Polo having to play a draw into the forefoot to save the 2, make the 2, which he did very comfortably to take us down the last all square. Japan with the hammer. Final end, tied game. Japan with the hammer, as I said. Took their power play, which in theory left them quite an open space to draw to for the win. Under the rules of mixed doubles, they're allowed to change the formation, and they had done so this end. Put a lot of pressure on the new skip. She was found a little wanting and ran her 4-foot draw, maybe 8 feet too hot. And USA breathe a sigh of relief, steal the last, win the game 7-6, having never led until that final draw. Fingers crossed they've made their way into the mixed zone, and Xander will be speaking to a very relieved Team USA very shortly. Whilst our game is finished, there are a couple more games just in their final throws down the last. We're just waiting Team USA to reach the mix zone. They are there, Team USA, and they will be interviewed by my colleague Xander.
Hello, about Team USA? You know, we saw you have a great game against China yesterday. This one was a lot more even. How would you compare the two games for your own performance?
You know, I think we struggled with the ice a little bit more this game. Just had a couple of straight spots that caught us off guard, and that was kind of the name of the game. We just missed a couple that we needed to make and got behind early.
Tabitha?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like they put the pressure on us too in quite a few ends, forcing us to make some harder, trickier shots. But yeah, we'll come out sharper next one.
Of course, a lot of talk about the Olympics, this championship being a direct qualification to the Olympic Games. Is it hard to not focus too much on that and just treat it as a World Championship going for a gold medal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the goal is to get on the podium here, but you know, the first goal to get there is to get an Olympic berth. So, you know, it's kind of a twofold thing for us.
We saw Japan switch positions before the last end there, and we questioned that knowing Matsumura, a skip and on his men's team would maybe be more comfortable playing that last stone. I'm just wondering what your 2 cents about that would be.
I mean, it's something that we've definitely done as well.
Yeah.
When you're up in the scoreboard, put him in the middle three to just make those high, hard peels. And so I'm guessing that's maybe what their thinking was. So I don't know. Yeah,
I know it definitely changed our thinking a little bit, knowing that he can make those double peels and stuff like that. So it was a smart move, and you know, it just probably didn't pay off for him.
Well, congrats on your 2 wins so far, USA, and good luck for the rest of the week.
Thanks.
So interesting insights there from Team USA. Mighty relieved. They get some downtime, and then they'll be back on for Game 3 in Pool B later on this evening. We're just looking at the score on Sheet B, which is currently tied 6-all, which has resulted in an extra end, and we have cameras in position, ready to see this one through to its conclusion. So, just keep you abreast of the situation. It looks like Switzerland have the hammer and are lying nicely in the button and the top of the button. And there's a couple of short guards out the front, which I think will be not what China would have been looking for with their first stone. So I'm sure we will see some hitting at some point as Switzerland try and clean this game up. No power plays available in the extra end, so no sideways formations. It's just the normal setup. But 2 red stones, the 2 guards end up side by side and eminently hittable. This should clear some space for Switzerland and make the rest of the end, I think, relatively comfortable. Not guaranteed, but relatively comfortable. Xander's back from the mixed zone.
Yeah, Martin Rios should have a fairly simple double here. I'll just open it up, and there you go. Unfortunate for China how those stones lined up. But can you make out who has shot stone? It looks Swiss to me. I think for now, China might have to just throw the guard anyway and come into the house a bit later. If in fact they have to move the Swiss counter.
Very experienced Swiss team. Mixed doubles curling anyway.
Less known Chinese side, but we know the funding that they've put into the sport, and they're really starting to generate a lot of good players over there. Of course, shaping up for the Olympic Games in Beijing. Their hopes of medaling very high. They came close in Sochi 2014, losing out to Sweden in the bronze medal game. Skipped by Lou Ray on the men's side. Of course, no mixed doubles at that point. Wang Rei and Ba Du-shin came close as well in Korea 3 years ago. Simple stuff for Martin Rios.
Yes, and the Chinese program will be tapering them nicely for a home performance of note. I'm sure they'll be, well, I was going to say sure, but under current COVID restrictions, I can't be sure about anything. But if we go ahead and everything is normal, there will be huge partisan crowds supporting the Chinese teams in every sport. Some home field advantage. Trying to lay the guards. Hope for an error. Tough to call who's exactly lying shot. Switzerland, I think, have just called for a timeout to assess the situation from the overhead. It's very tight. Kind of determines what you do next. Make it as easy as possible for their last stone. The coach has to make his way down from the Swiss coach's end, which is not adjacent, and now he's having to wait for a New Zealand stone, and now he can come on. So that's all called travelling time. None of this counts on the intervention time.
Du hättest lieber, wenn ich das spiele, gell? Also? Ja, aber das ist doch gut. Du musst doch sagen, was mit dem letzten... Also einfach so, dass ich das spiele T-Line.
I think the thinking here is they could peel the guard, but then China might come down, especially if Switzerland is in fact setting shots. They might come down, tap the yellow a foot, and then sit right in the pocket and leave a very tough shot for Jenny Perry to win the game. So instead of allowing China to do that, they'll come in themselves and try to win it right here. So either freezing the red, maybe even just chisel off their own yellow. They could spin in for shot stone.
Comes the curl now.
It does finish hard at the end. They do get a bit of a chisel, but have they left a pocket for China? They call a timeout as well.
Did you see the finish on that one? That was moving sideways at the end there and caught them out a little bit. I think they knew they had the weight, but they didn't expect the extra draw to come at that weight. They could have been absolutely perfect on the backstone, but just flicking their own one. Got some spin, got some separation. Just left China the smallest opportunity here now.
See Tommi Rantamäki from Finland coaching Team China here. He's got his little strategy board to make it clear. Not sure if his Mandarin is up to scratch quite yet, Rantamäki. Been working with them for not too long. Not sure if there's very much to do here.
No, I think there's room to just wriggle off the left-hand yellow, I think, as we look at it, and slide down towards the shot-lying stone. Probably no more than back button weight would do it. Maybe 2 stones to move, maybe a fraction more, but there's room. It's not the easiest shot, but definitely room there. And if made, will make Switzerland's job very difficult.
So I guess they don't think they can come on the same turn as Switzerland and chisel in between the yellows.
No, they're trying to drop it around on the in turn. As I say, probably just looking to just flick the yellow on the right, and now the left as we look.
Yeah, just a redirect, really.
Ricochet down towards the one on the button. Lie one, probably frozen in one direction, if not two.
That's a tough one here. Needs to be made, or it is Switzerland's game. Yang Ying.
She's thrown the weight to get some kind of result.
Needs to curl. Needs to curl big. Gets close. There we go. Very nice shot. Comes off the yellow, bounces the other. Sits pretty fully buried top of the button to lie to. I think Tommy Rantamäki happy with that one. He's got a mask on, of course, but I can see him smiling behind it. That did finish at the end. Perfectly thrown.
Yeah, beautifully played. A good weight there, and I like the fact that they went up slightly up weight, didn't try and freeze the pocket. Didn't it? That would have brought sweepers into play. I think just playing that running weight allowed them to give themselves a bit more margin. And now they have narrowed the scoring down to Switzerland, down to 3/4 of the button, well, half the button in one direction.
So do you play the straight draw side button here, or do you try and chip and roll off the top red?
Well, you commit one way or other, don't you, and then adapt as the stone's coming down. I think there's room to come to the button if you need to play the slight tickle off the front one, go for it, but don't think that in your head now.
Last stone, extra end. Switzerland, Jenny Perret. She's made plenty of these stones before.
Yeah, they're not panicking about the weight, so it's going to be close. Comes the curl, though.
Little tight, maybe get the chisel and roll. Chisel and roll for the win. No, it's going to be China. 2 points on the board. Very close game. Just decided over a few inches. And China picks up a win here on the former world champions from Switzerland. Well, that's the kind of drama we like to see at the World Championship. Jenny Perret comes close, but it is China's win, 8-6 final score.
Yep, extra end, last stone thrillers.
So that's the first win for China, the first loss for Switzerland. And as you can perhaps hear, that is the last stone to be thrown in the session. Pretty quiet in the curl Aberdeen now, and pretty empty. We did have another extra end game. It was New Zealand-England. Also a 6-6 game. There was one stone left to be thrown.
England had forced the extra end, which gave New Zealand a hammer. At this stage, England were lying pretty well. But there was an in-turn path left for Courtney Smith. See, it's hanging out there. But Anton Hood likes the weight. Here comes the break point. Look at it go from here. It's going to be close. Going to be close. And look at that for a winner. Well done, New Zealand. Unlucky England.
A 7-6 win for the Kiwis after suffering a heavy defeat against Norway yesterday. They bounce back. Just taking a look elsewhere, all the scores, Alan.
Very close across the pad this afternoon. 2 extra ends. A stolen shot by the States and some tight games further down. So from the top, as you saw there, New Zealand 7, England 6, China 8, Switzerland 6, Japan 6, USA 7, Estonia 6, Sweden 9, Norway 8, Finland 4.
And we'll perhaps take a look at the standings in Group B. Of course, only played 2 sessions, but we can already start to see the contours of what's going to happen. Favorites like Norway and Sweden will sit on top, 2 wins, also alongside USA. We see now China, Estonia, New Zealand and Switzerland at 1 win, 1 loss. It is England, Finland and Japan to yet pick up a win here, sitting at 0-2 at the bottom of the standings. But of course, many teams in the group, many games to go, very open still. But that does conclude the session here. A couple of left today to be played in the Curl Aberdeen, but thank you so much for watching, and please join us again. For myself, Sander Olvag, and my comrade Alan Chalmers, we bid you adieu.